What if one of the most brilliant generals of World War I belonged to an empire that vanished, and to a people who never fully claimed him? Svetozar Boroević was born in 1856 in Umetic, a modest village in the military frontier of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, an unstable borderland constantly on alert. The son of a Grenzer officer, he was raised amid a culture where discipline was not optional, and survival depended on loyalty, endurance, and readiness for battle. Though he came from a Serb Orthodox background, Boroević would devote his life to a multi-ethnic empire that would one day cease to exist, and in doing so, become one of its most formidable military minds. His early career was defined not by grand victories, but by steady, relentless ascent. He trained at the prestigious Theresian Military Academy in Wiener Neustadt, where he absorbed the theories of warfare with the same intensity he later brought to the field. Throughout the late 19th century, he served with distinction in the Bosnian campaign and the professional army of the Habsburgs, developing a reputation for being both tactically precise and emotionally detached, a man more comfortable among troops than in salons or parliaments. Then came 1914. When the Great War exploded across Europe, Boroević was not placed on the Western Front, nor sent to Russia. Instead, he was thrust into one of the most demanding, unrelenting theatres of the entire conflict, the Isonzo front. Stretching along a treacherous section of the Austro-Italian border, the Isonzo River carved through limestone ridges and jagged cliffs. It was no place for conventional warfare. Yet here, from 1915 to 1917, Boroević commanded the Austro-Hungarian Fifth Army against an Italian military determined to break through. The Italian High Command, under Luigi Cadorna, launched not one or two, but 11 offensives along this front. Each time, thousands of men were thrown into narrow valleys and steep mountainsides under blistering artillery fire, hoping to punch through and drive deep into Austria-Hungary. And each time, Boroevic's forces, often outnumbered, poorly supplied and composed of dozens of nationalities speaking different languages, held their ground. But he didn't just defend, he transformed the very concept of defence. Boroević exploited every contour of the karst plateau, every bend in the river, turning the natural landscape into an impenetrable wall. His tactics relied not on brute strength, but on anticipation. He studied Italian formations, identified patterns, and responded with flexibility. Dugouts became fortresses, hills became strongholds. Communication lines were kept functional under fire, and morale somehow was sustained. His ability to unify Czechs, Hungarians, Poles, Croats, Slovenes, and Bosnians, who might not even share a common language, was as remarkable as his battlefield coordination. Troops respected him because he didn't waste lives needlessly. Where other commanders clung to theory, Boroević adapted, adjusted, and survived. It was during the 12th Battle of the Isonzo, the Battle of Caporetto, that he demonstrated the full reach of his command genius. In coordination with German General Otto von Below, Boroević helped orchestrate a lightning-fast, high-altitude assault using new infiltration tactics. Austro-Hungarian and German shock troops bypassed Italian strongpoints and sowed confusion deep in enemy lines. The Italian army collapsed in disarray, retreating over 100 kilometers in a matter of days. For Boroević, it was not just a military achievement, it was a vindication of everything he had built. Disciplined units, strategic patience, and a deep understanding of mountain warfare. And yet, despite his triumphs, Boroević would never bask in acclaim. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was fracturing from within, pulled apart by nationalism and war fatigue. He was promoted to Feldmarschall, Field Marshal, the highest rank in the imperial military, the first and only Slavic officer to ever reach it. But his rise was greeted with muted recognition and suspicion. In Vienna, some doubted his loyalties due to his Serbian roots. In the newly formed Yugoslavia, his years of service to the Habsburgs were viewed as betrayal rather than sacrifice. He spent his post-war years in quiet isolation, choosing to remain in Austria rather than return to a country that barely acknowledged him. Once a commander of hundreds of thousands, he died nearly penniless and forgotten in Klagenfurt on May 23, 1920. A strategist unmatched in his era, left without a country to remember him.